Good morning, roller derby fans, and welcome to the bubble track here at Ted Reeve Arena and this Layer9.ca production of the 2018 Fresh and the Furious. I am the Derby Nerd here with Amelia Diehard, and we've got our first game of the 2018 tournament. Who are our opponents here?
We have Forest City Derby girls from London, Ontario, up against, they're combined with Lindsay Roller Derby against Nemesis Roller Derby from Sherbrooke, Quebec.
That's right. A mixed team. We're going to see a few mixed teams here today, as is pretty normal for the Fresh and the Furious tournament. And our first mixed team is Forest City Derby girls, who have traditionally competed here as the Thicket, as the name would imply, but now mixing it up with Lindsay Roller Derby. And we will try to get these rosters to you when we have a breaking gameplay. We are at Beast of the East rules, 20-minute games. First lead jammer status goes to the Nemesis. That is Sugar Rush with the star.
Radium fighting. She's pushed to the outside.
Sugar Rush coming around on a scoring pass. Nice wide open lane on the inside. Takes it. It's going to be a grand slam to kick things off for the Nemesis.
Jammer for Thicket, push to the inside, knocked down. She's back up on the inside and being pulled back by Nemesis. Still fighting hard against that wall of three blockers.
And I gotta say, the Nemesis looking very in control of things right now, from their sharp uniforms right down to their tight track play.
And there's Radium. She's through and making the rounds.
4 points then on that second pass for Nemesis. Now looking to the bench, Sugar Rush going to call it off. A 9-0 opening jam here for the skaters from Roller Derby Sherbrooke.
Nicely done.
So if you are just tuning in, you're watching your new teams or friends or family skating the Fresh and the Furious. This is the 8th year in a row that we've done the Fresh and the Furious, a tournament that started actually in 2008 with an event called the Virgin Suicides Brawl and eventually became the Fresh and the Furious in 2011. Virtually every skater from Ontario and Quebec has made their way through this tournament at one point or another.
And Nemesis Jammer going to the box for a track cut there.
And we have a skater down right now from a Nemesis. And EMTs are going to be checking in on her. So we're going to take a little bit of a break in gameplay. One bit of, as you can see on the scoreboard, there was a bit of an update on the scoring, and that was actually a 14-0 scoring jam, opening jam for Nemesis. We had a skater head to the penalty box at the end of that jam. And if you're just tuning in, we are already under an injury timeout. Not a way you want to start a tournament.
No. And from what I remember from skating in Fresh and Furious 2, this track can be pretty slick and treacherous, especially in the turns. And
while many of these skaters probably have skated at least one game, all these skaters are coming in very early in their careers, 3 games or less. So they're just getting used to different surfaces. Some may have only ever practiced on one particular kind of surface, and then you come into a new arena and you're not quite ready for it. Didn't really get to see what happened. It was in the midst of the pack when the skater went down. Now, Amelia, you skated in this tournament. As I mentioned, pretty much every skater from Quebec and Ontario, at the very least, who play currently have come through this tournament at one point or another. You skated in 2012?
2011.
2011?
2012. I was lucky to get to do it twice because I changed leagues and I still qualified at the time. And coming in today, Nerd, I was just all warm and tingly just from the experience and so excited for all the skaters here today and the veterans who come back to participate as volunteers. Like, it felt like coming home. Yeah. And it felt like summer camp and all the wonderful things all at once. And, you know, it's just such a great learning opportunity for fresh skaters and a chance to get to know each other and learn more about the game. Really grateful to Hogtown Roller Derby for putting on this event year after year.
Yeah, that's right. It is Hogtown Roller Derby.
It
if you
is.
have tuned in the past, you may remember that this was once hosted by the GTA Roller Girls. GTA Roller Girls still exist, but now I've changed their name to Hogtown Roller Derby. Same league, new name, same event. And this event is one of those just calendar events that are so integral, I think, to Canadian roller derby. It's not only an opportunity for fresh skaters, but we have fresh announcers, we have fresh referees, NSOs, people doing different jobs for the first time in their derby careers. So it's really a wonderful opportunity for the whole community to gain really important experience in a tournament-type setting.
Absolutely, Nerd. And talking today at the announcers meeting, one of the announcers said one day he just saw a sign on the street and wandered in. So lots of fresh fans today, too. So if you're joining us on the broadcast, glad you're here, and hope that you stay and follow and come out sometime to a game.
And we are back. Thank you so much for your patience, viewers of the 2018 Fresh and the Furious here at the Ted Reeve Bubble. Once again, I'm the Derby Nerd here with Amelia Diehard.
Hey.
Let's get back to game number 1.
Next whistle starts the jam.
So we did have a brief injury timeout. If you're just tuning in, that's why we're only 2 minutes into this opening game. These are 20-minute games. And we are back underway.
So we have Nemesis Jammer in the box. And this gives the Thicket an opportunity to catch up with the power jam start.
And great job by Hogtown and the officials here today in getting this game back underway so very quickly. Looks like another penalty to a Nemesis blocker, this time Clara Mike heading to the penalty box. So Pivot and Jammer both in the penalty box.
Jammer for the Thicket, number 21. Felix Ferocious, fighting hard. She's racing the Nemesis blockers at the front, knocked to the inside, back in. Still fighting hard.
Turbo Chupette out of the penalty box and back on the track for the Nemesis. And Thicket looking much more comfortable on the track this jam. Still having a hard time working the offense.
And Turbo is through.
Of course, control is in Felix Ferocious's hands. Is getting indication from the bench to call it off. That is Coach Torque on the bench, a longtime veteran for Forest City Derby Girls.
4 more points on the board for Nemesis, but a smart call on the part of Thicket to call it off.
So steal of 4 will give Nemesis an 18-0 lead when all is said and done. And just to give you, looks like official timeout's going to be called. Just to make sure we've got that scoring. It was a steal of 4. Just to let you know, we are playing 20-minute style games. There are 12 teams playing this tournament, so we're not doing a full double elimination bracket. You can find information about that just by clicking on a link. You can get live updated in real time throughout the course of the day. If you want information about the skaters or the rosters, you can just click in the upper right-hand corner of your viewing screen. You'll see an I there. That I means information. Click on it and you will find information.
Information.
Each game is 20 minutes. 4 penalties will see skaters foul out. And each team has 2 timeouts and 1 official review.
Like to keep things moving at a tournament.
Now, as a skater who's skating these 20-minute games, is it more intense? It seems like it would be time would go by so quickly.
It does go so quick. It feels like 5 minutes. I mean, compared to a 2-hour practice or a 1-hour game, it's just all of a sudden over. So about the time where, like for me, I start to feel comfortable. I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I got it going on. It's over. It's really very quick. But I remember Amethyst from Adam Smasher saying, you know what? It's 20 minutes. Stay together. Breathe. And that's the best advice I think a fresh skater can get in this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Amethyst, coach of the Adam Smashers. Adam Smashers, have played it for a few years in the Beast of the East, and I remember they referred to themselves as a second half team. And I think for more experienced teams, these short games can be really tough if you're used to sort of building over time. If you're a team that works on endurance a lot, you really kind of have to come out and be on your game right away. There's no warming up on the track in these 20-minute games. That being said, too, a lot can change in one single jam. So one big jam can change the course of a game as well.
Jammer penalties can just really shut down a team or change the score so much that there's no comeback. But the score is never the true tale of the game. Like, you see so much hard fighting on the parts of, some teams where you really have to admire their heart. Unfortunately, there's no points for that, but you really have to admire a jammer who just keeps at it against a formidable wall of blockers, or a team that really supports their jammer. So we could see anything today.
Yeah. And there's no points for heart, but there is a heart award here at the Fresh and the Furious, given out in honor of Louisa Calamaris, aka Hack Kerouac. And so we do have an award for heart. No points, but at least an award.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like we are ready to get back underway. And still not, those points haven't been added to the board. It did look like there was a steal of 4 at the end of that last jam.
Hearing from house announcer Breaker Thigh, and there they are. 18-point lead for the Nemesis.
So still just 3.5 minutes into this opening game. If you're just tuning in to the Layer 9 production of Fresh and the Furious, a little bit behind here on the bubble, probably about 15 minutes or so behind. We'll see how this game plays out. We did have a 15-minute injury timeout. And now we're back underway.
Everyone in position, looking pretty tight there.
Empty penalty box, 5 on the 5. 5 on 5 on the track.
Here they go. Nemesis jammer through right off the line. That's Sugar Rush.
Sugar Rush picked up 14 points in her opening jam. Sugar Rush getting involved in the defense now, cuts through that pack quickly. This Nemesis team looks really strong.
Number 58, Rage Turner, still fighting at the back against the Nemesis pivot. Hearing penalties called, and it's a power jam for the Nemesis. Track cut there on the part of the Thicket jammer.
And so Nemesis has lead jammer status. They are in complete control. Already have 10 on the board. A nice sweep inside out. Sugar Rush able to get through for a quick 5.
Seeing Radium call all her blockers to her, trying to move to the front and catch Sugar Rush. She's close. Sugar Rush keeps going on the inside. Nemesis pivot going to the box. Did you see that penalty there, Nerd?
I did not see. I'm seeing a lot of direction of gameplay penalties being called.
Oh, nice. Sugar Rush cuts on the top of the apex and goes back to start again.
Yeah, as these packs come to a slow crawl into turn 1, we are seeing a huge accumulation of direction of gameplay penalties, but finally that jam comes to an end. A 15-0 jam for Sugar Rush. She is sitting on 29 points already early on in this one.
It's phenomenal work.
25 points, excuse me, as you're seeing updated on your board. 43-0 jam, 43-0 gain just 5 minutes in.
Another timeout.
As we said, there's a lot of fresh officials, NSOs, and skating officials. I'm trying to make sure we get things right. And I really like the way the ref crews have been set up this year. We actually have mentor referees, so refs who've led crews before, and they actually work with the head referee to help mentor the crew and some of the new skaters. So just for example, a couple of our mentors are Guilo Fauchot, White Noise, Cleveland, Mr. Beard. These are all refs who are very well known in the Canadian derby scene, certainly here in Ontario.
All right. Nemesis with 2 blockers on the track. They're going to try to shut down the Thicket. But It's Miss T. Meaner, skater for Lindsay Roller Derby. She is out and through, getting ready to score. Miss T. Meaner had her debut recently, and more than 20 fans from her family showed up at the game.
Wow.
They had a party bus out in the parking lot. It was amazing. Miss T. Meaner calling it off.
And yes, just in time, so no points scored. So the Thicket now on the board. It was their second lead jammer status. The first time, though, they were able to take advantage of it and put some points on the board. Get another official timeout here. 6 minutes in now. So let's take an opportunity to introduce you to this referee crew. I mentioned White Noise is our mentor for this crew. Our crew head ref is Queen Helsa, and she is joined by Cheatskates Lolo, who's also joining us on the announcer crew this year, Vile Lovett, Mista Kennedy, and Owly Shit. Holy shit.
That's a good one.
It's a great one, yes.
Both teams at even strength, even blocker strength, with 2 in the box.
And again, referee crew just making sure everything is being properly attributed in terms of penalties and points. Coming up next here in the bubble, we have North Central Roller Derby. Going to be skating off against combo team number 2. That's going to be the Border City Brawlers, Suburbia, Grey Bruce, and Niagara Roller Girls all coming together to form somewhat of a super team. That's coming up next year in the bubble.
Some nice footwork there by Turbo Choupette, but she is going to the box for a track cut. Felix Ferocious on a power jam with an opportunity to really put some points on the board for the Thicket.
Seeing some great defense once again from Clara Mike. And I think the difference so far is that these Nemesis skaters just look so much more comfortable on their skates. You can definitely see in terms of the strategies and the gameplay, pretty equal, very fresh, but the skating abilities, just the footwork and the comfort on the quads shown by this Nemesis is the big difference here early on.
Some absolutely ferocious hits coming from the Nemesis side. But as you mentioned before, lots of direction of play on the blocking. It's kind of hurting them and sending them to the box.
And Turbo Choupette out of the penalty box and through. Initial pass now complete.
Felix Ferocious continuing to fight hard at the back of the pack against the Nemesis skaters. Being shoved to the inside by the pivot. She holds on tight and keeps going. Knocked to the outside. Still working on finishing that initial pass.
That's right, so there is no lead jammer status yet in this jam.
But a successful star pass there by the Thicket. Megabyte taking the star. She's lost a toe stop there, but she's not letting it slow her down.
Great heads-up skating from that pivot. That can be terrifying, especially for a fresh skater to lose that toe stop.
That's right.
But Megabyte unfazed through for 4 points.
Again, lining up on the inside.
And of course, because of that star pass, Felix Ferocious was ineligible to be lead jammer. That's why that jam went the full 2 minutes, our first 2-minute jam of the game. 8 minutes in now, Nemesis in control, 60-10. But as we've said, we've seen things change very quickly. And Thicket have at least one potentially game-changing jammer in Miss T. Meaner.
Another timeout.
So yeah, we mentioned coming up next, we have Combo Team 2 featuring skaters from Border City, Niagara, for example, up against the North Central Roller Derby. Also coming up a little bit later, and like I said, it looks like we're going to be about 15 or so minutes behind, but we also have the Quad City Hot Rods against Montreal's Smash Squad here, scheduled for 12:20 here on the bubble track. So if you're fans, friends, or family of either of those teams, stick around. We will get that game to you as promptly as possible.
Love seeing these combo teams here today, Nerd.
Yes.
Keep things going.
It's
Give everybody the opportunity to skate.
It's such a great tradition here at this tournament because obviously different leagues of different sizes, you can't always pull in 20 fresh meat every single year. And so it has become, since the very beginning, it's been, even Toronto, I remember one year, didn't have enough skaters to send a Vipers team and had to merge with Kingston, I believe. The Rogue Divas, they were called. So even a league the size of Toronto can't always put together 20 skaters fit under the fresh regulations.
And oftentimes smaller rural leagues, you know, your fresh meat coming in that year might be 2-3 skaters, and you bring them up best you can.
Yeah.
Very grassroots organizations doing their best to keep everyone in and keep them going, and this is just such a big bump coming to this tournament for a freshie skater. Like, it's kind of the big time.
Yeah. What's really stood out for me too over the years is just the improvement. Like these skaters are coming in so much better prepared for the game than they were before. Like you see a team like Nemesis. This is a team that's obviously been exceptionally well prepared for this tournament. Just the level of organization that takes to prep skaters at this stage of their careers is very impressive. All right, ready to get back underway.
Sugar Rush jamming once again for Nemesis. But it's Thicket skater Radium out and through, making the round. She's lead jammer for her team. Captain Sugar Rush about half a lap behind now.
And Sugar Rush has done a lot of damage so far in this game, so stealing lead jammer status from her, a very important development for the Thicket.
Radium undaunted against the wall of Nemesis blockers. She's through again, putting another 4 points on the board.
Bad Wolf with a nice exit hit on Sugar Rush, but Sugar Rush lays a shoulder into Radium. That's going to slow Radium up.
It works. She's caught in that tangle, giving Sugar Rush an opportunity to maybe steal some points, but I hear the bench from the Thicket side saying, call it, call it, call it.
Torque was asking to call it off, now deciding to change her mind. Going to see if Radium can get through and pick up 4 points because it is an 8-8 tie right now. On this jam. Oh, and Sugar Rush through on the inside. A nice offensive pick set at turn 4.
Absolutely beautiful. Bad Wolf calling her blockers to the front. Trying to give Radium a hand there. She gets knocked to the inside and calls it off. Puts 2 more points on the board.
So Radium not quite able to tie things up there. Steal of 2 overall for Nemesis. 52 points is the difference as we hit the midway point of this game. Again, if you're tuning in right now in hopes of catching Combo Team 2 versus North Central Roller Derby, we are just a little bit behind schedule due to an earlier injury timeout. We will get that game shortly. We have 9.5 minutes to go here in this one, the opening game here at the Bubble at Ted Reeve Arena.
Lots of shoving off the line. Misdemeanor as jammer pushed to the outside, and Nemesis has lead jammer status again.
Misdemeanor taking some big hits. Nemesis now looking to score some points.
Misdemeanor in on the inside, while Choupette tiptoes her way through on the outside. She earned 5 points there, a grand slam, as Misdemeanor was still in the pack.
And good call from the bench to call that off, shut things down. Nemesis still in control now with 9 minutes to go.
It's a great start to this tournament.
Talking a little bit about our coaching staffs too. Coach Andre, Orange Clutch, and Psycho Patch are the bench staff for Nemesis this weekend. Who do we got on the bench for Thicket?
We have Torque, Coach Cat, and Coach Jax is over there somewhere. Coach Jax, head announcer for this tournament. Former skater. Really, actually, Jax does it all, let's be honest.
Yes, yeah.
Let's be honest. Jax wears a lot of hats and does it well.
Absolutely. And Torque, one of the coaches from Thicket, I think has been around Derby so long that she probably never had a chance to play in the Fresh and the Furious. So I think her involvement with Forest City predates that.
Yes. So if you're not fresh meat nerd, are you stale meat? To call
Old
someone
meat.
who's a veteran state skater. Freezer burnt?
Freezer burnt.
Freezer burnt.
Gray meat.
Yeah. So Captain Sugar Rush through with lead jammer status again. And Felix Furious taking the star for Nemesis in green there. Really working so hard. She sneaks through. Slows Sugar Rush down a little bit there on the turn. And keeps going. Few blockers in the box. Black Widow giving Sugar Rush a signal there. And she calls it.
So Nemesis, despite being down a skater, losing a skater to injury early, seem unfazed, have maintained their focus, and another 13-pointer pushes them ever closer to that century mark. I do want to just mention that skater still haven't had confirmation of who it is yet, but is being now taken in an ambulance to deal with that lower leg injury. We will try and update you as the tournament goes on if we hear anything else.
For sure. Rage Turner, jammer in green, through for the Thicket on. She's getting knocked to the inside by one of the Nemesis jammers.
Vesta, is getting called on that for that out of play hit. She was,
She
30
was
feet,
excited.
30 feet out of the pack.
Yeah. Rage Turner keeps going. She was lined up there by a Nemesis blocker and fell before the contact, but she's back up and calls it off.
I do appreciate that penalty, though. You're a blocker. Your job is to hit the jammer. You see a jammer coming.
Absolutely.
And maybe at this point in your career, not exactly aware of where you are at all times on the track. And just put a little bit of shoulder into the Thicket jammer.
That's your job.
That's
your job.
It's a really simple sport. Skate fast, turn left, hit the skater with the star.
That's right. And other skaters, if you feel so
Yeah,
inclined, you
that's
can hit
absolutely.
any time.
That's right.
All right.
Jam is now underway. Sugar Rush once again jamming for Nemesis. And Miss T. Meaner now matched up for the Thicket.
High block called there on Clara Mike.
Claire Mike, though, not leaving the track yet. Sugar Rush makes a nice little juke to the outside past Bad Wolf.
Clara Mike leaving the track now. But Misty Meaner's picking up the points for the Thicket. And Coach Shack saying, call it off, call it off.
And Miss T. Meaner with a big pickup for the Thicket. And it looks like we got 5 minutes to go here. Thicket not done. Just because you lose one doesn't mean you are done for the tournament. They will at least have another game to play here later on today.
They've got their feet wet now. They'll be good.
And these mixed teams, too, it's going to take them some time to come together. I'm assuming they haven't had an opportunity to practice together. Lindsay and London are not that close together.
No, there's several hours.
So it'll take at least a game just to get to know each other, get comfortable with each other in the pack. Nemesis have no such problems. These guys look very comfortable together out there.
Like they were made to play together. Choupette, lead jammer. She's making this look easy today.
Really
Sneaking
nice.
through the middle, bit of a slip and fall, and she calls it off.
Was a steal of 4 there, though, for the Thicket. Nice bridging at the front of that pack on the defense from the Nemesis. Again, just showing that elevated level of gameplay that they are working at. Looks like a timeout has been called by the Thicket. So the first team timeout taken of this game. Of course, if you are thinking of coming down here to check out things, you've got a full day of Derby coming up. We'll be here at the Bubble until around 5:40 or so, when the full tournament shifts over to the main arena here at Ted Reeve. There's some cool food trucks, I heard, that's going to be here.
Oh, I hope the Sunday guy is here.
You'll have to come down, check it out if you can. We would like to thank some of our sponsors for this weekend's tournament, including the Pie Commission, Complete Energy Solutions, Magnum Fire Protection, the Ingrove Group, Mayflower Landscape, and rollergirl.ca. So big thanks to all of our sponsors at the 2018 Fresh and Furious.
And big thanks to our NSOs. Head NSO Carried Away, veteran to roller derby. She's been around forever. And all of our crew, big thank you to you. It takes so many people to put on a tournament of this size, the planning, right down to putting the tape around the track. Really phenomenal job.
I would have to confirm this, but I wonder if Carried Away played her first tournament here at the Fresh and the Furious with maybe the Toronto Roller Derby Divas?
Maybe.
I'll have to do some research into that. Meanwhile, back on the track, Megabyte coming out of that timeout picks up lead jammer status.
Sugar Rush sneaking through on the inside, earning 4 points. And it's Megabyte through once again.
Nice offense from Rage Turner to open up that inside lane. Must be a good conversation in that timeout from Coach Torque. So Thicket with 4 now, 105 to 29. Point differential does not mean anything in the Fresh and the Furious tournament. It's all about wins and losses. In the opening rounds, you get 2 wins, you're through to the knockout rounds, 2 losses, and you're done. Misdemeanor now, jamming, comes up against Clara Mike, stays in bounds, then gets shoved out just at the pivot line. And that allowed an inside lane for Turbo Chapette, who is now lead jammer for Nemesis.
Absolutely formidable blocking on the part of the Nemesis today. Great communication. They're doing a great job of really working the offensive and defenses at the same time, making space for their jammer while taking care of the Thicket jammer and making sure she can't get any points.
Misdemeanor getting called on a track cut, so it's going to be a power jam here for Nemesis. Grand Slam already picked up. 10-5 on the jam, and it looks like Nemesis is going to have a chance to put a lot of points on the board here late in this game and kill a lot of the clock as well.
Or as they say in Quebec, that's a super jam.
Super jam. And again, these skaters not used to playing these tournaments, so and a lot of small rosters, which is another just reality of the Fresh and the Furious, is a lot of teams playing short. So it does become important to start pacing yourself.
Yeah.
Could be potentially a very long game. And Nemesis really just working basically with one line. Although I do remember that in 2014, I believe it was, might have been 15, maybe 2015, but Roller Derby Quebec won this tournament with 7 skaters.
That's incredible. It really is.
Back on the track now, Sugar Rush cuts through that pack, picks up lead jammer status for Nemesis.
Black Widow directing the blockers from the back. She gives a signal again to her jammer to follow her through. Sugar Rush picks up 5 points, 1 for the jammer in the pack, and calls off the jam. Another timeout.
That was 2015, that year that Quebec won it with 7 skaters, just confirmed. Also, you can talk to us on FNF Derby 2018. That's hashtag FNF Derby 2018 on Twitter. We will do our best to remember to check. I'm checking right now. So if you'd like to say hello, if you'd like to give us any of your own memories, stories, histories here of the Fresh and the Furious, you can do so. Follow Hogtown Roller Derby and the hashtag FNF Derby 2018. We are getting an official score. Hammer City beats Les Outsiders de Quebec 73-71 in a tight one over in Ted Reeve Arena.
That must have been a nail-biter.
Wow, a 2-point game. That one just ended about 15 minutes ago, so they are on still on track over at Ted Reeve. As I've mentioned, we're about 15 minutes behind here so far, so keep that in mind if you're planning the rest of your viewing day. Game 2, which was scheduled to start at 11:40, probably be closer to noon start now. I believe this is an official review being taken by the Thicket.
Back at the center of the track, resolving the official timeout.
Just getting an update from our tournament officials here, and we're actually going to be moving one of the games that was scheduled here. So the 12:20 game, the Quad City Hot Rods, and the Smash Squad game, which was scheduled here for 12:20, will now be played in Ted Reeve Arena at 1 p.m.
Okay.
So if you're on the stream looking for the Quad City Hot Rods or the Smash Squad, that game that was scheduled here for 12:20 will now be moved. It will be at Ted Reeve Arena at 1 p.m. and it will be available on the layer9.ca Ted Reeve stream.
That's perfect.
So again, good work, good quick work by the tournament officials to keep this tournament running smoothly and as close to on time as possible.
Once again.
It was a false start by everyone, except for the officials.
I thought it was a go, too. I'll be honest. I was really impressed by Choupette getting through right off the line.
Looks like we're just going to have to make sure that the clock is adjusted appropriately. The waning moments here of this first game. Nemesis just looking to close things off and move on. They, of course, are down a skater for the rest of the tournament. So speaking of going short, they're going to be moving forward with 7 skaters as well.
Everybody looks ready.
And the clock is being adjusted.
There it goes.
Looks like we're going to have a minute left in this final jam. For a 20-minute game, this we were talking about how these games feel so quick earlier. This
yeah,
feels
lots
a
of
little
times
bit
out this one. Thicket still having a good time over on their bench. Taking the points difference all in stride.
All right, we are now ready. What could potentially be the final jam here of this game.
And this time, it's Choupette through on the inside. Big crowd around Green Jammer, Felix Ferocious for the Thicket. They're shoving her around. Radium at the front, trying to give her a hand and get her through.
And it looks like Nemesis bench is going to keep this jam going. It is under their control, and I think they want to end this one.
They sure do. Grand slam for Turbo Choupette. And hearing white noise calling a penalty, sending someone to the box. It's Thicket blocker Radium. Another 5 points on the board for Choupette as Felix Ferocious is knocked to the inside and pulled back by the Nemesis blockers.
And that is going to do it on the game clock. So now Sherbrooke with an opportunity to end this at their own discretion.
Another grand slam for Choupette.
And it looks like they're going to keep it going. 45 seconds on the jam clock, going quickly. Choupette around another pass. Initial pass still not complete for the Thicket. And now the bench indicating to their jammer to call it off. And she does. First game in the books. Huge victory for the Nemesis.
For sure. Thicket showing lots of skill there. Felix Ferocious trying a star stash at the end to get through. However, Nemesis called it off.
So there it is, Nemesis, and I think they've just announced themselves as potential contenders here at the Fresh and the Furious. So stick around on the stream if you want to watch combo team number 2 take on North Central Roller Derby. That will be happening here. That was the 11:40 game. If you're just tuning in, the 12:20 game being moved to 1 p.m. I think we'll be on the call for the next game here.
I think
so
we
we
are.
will continue to be your hosts, but that'll be coming up probably in about 10 minutes or so. Once again, a long game, injury and official timeouts stretching this one to about the 50-minute mark. But the Nemesis coming through victorious, 143-34. They will be playing at 2:20 here in the bubble. With their opponent, of course, still to be determined. But Nemesis moving on 1 win away from qualifying for the knockout rounds. And Thicket will also have another opportunity. They'll keep going. They'll be playing at 1:40, and their opponents still to be determined as well. But the Thicket's still in it. One opportunity to stay alive. Still need 2 wins to move forward. All right, we're going to wrap up game 1 here at the bubble. We'll be back in about 10 or so minutes as we try to get things back on track. You're watching the 2018 Fresh and the Furious on layer9.ca.